honestly a little bit. I am so in love with our listeners. It's like it's getting a little bit. I need to chill out about my love for the listeners because I'm coming on too strong, and I know they can take it. These people are loving people that have a lot of love to give. I can't get over. If you're just joining the show, which by the way, I want to use this episode. I just came up with an idea. I would love our besties. And by the way, you guys don't owe me anything. You've given me so much. But I was thinking about the girl that wrote into the show yesterday and was saying, I'm going to the show alone. I'm coming to your upcoming tour. I'm going alone, which, Nikki, you always say go alone if you can't find a friend. And I was thinking about besties coming together and like meeting each other. Because if you listen to this podcast, when I find someone who listens to Howard Stern, we already have something that is a commonality that is shared, a love and appreciation for a man who, most people have ideas about that we know is like a great person. And just we have such an affection for someone that, it's like meeting someone that goes, Andy Sales too? Like like when you meet someone that's like, oh my God, now I trust that I love you. So like when I meet someone that listens to Howard Stern, it's an instant friendship. Whether or not we have anything else in common. I mean, these guys are usually delivery men that work for like a alcohol sales rep and are like, have a Baba Booey, shirt on or something. And I'm like, can we talk about Howard? And I like latch onto them. So I was thinking for the besties, I have two ideas. First of all, welcome to the Nikki Glaser Podcast, because I want you all, if you have it in your hearts, to text someone who you think might need a daily podcast ritual or a daily morning show ritual or a weekly, however much you listen to this, that might be someone who would enjoy our show, and write them and say, I think you would like this show. Give it a shot. Like, recommend the show if you think it would bring joy to someone's life. If you don't have anyone that pops into mind right now for that, that's fine. Don't do it. But and I'm not trying to do this so we get more ratings and reviews and listeners. I want to make more people happy because I know the joy that the show brings people now because of last week when I got emotional. I mean, I was already getting great feedback, and every week with Fanthrax, which is where we read every Thursday, we're going to do it later. We read like listener feedback. Every week, it's always just such nice things. But just this past week, if you're new to the show because someone recommended the show to you, welcome. And send them this episode. Hello, welcome to the show. This is the Nikki Glaser Podcast. We're a daily podcast that just tries to create a sense of like friendship and fun and realness and honesty. And we're here every day. You don't need to listen every day, but we love if you do, Monday through Thursday. And it's not one of those podcasts that you got to feel like, oh no, I missed something, I got to go back. You can listen to it on 2 times the speed if you want. For this one, I talk really fast, so I'm kind of thinking you should do half speed. But we're glad to have you here. If you don't like it, no harm, no foul. Unsubscribe, whatever you want to do. If you do like it, stick around. If you don't like this episode, I ask that if you kind of like it, stick around for 4 episodes. Give us 4 and then you can move on. Andrew Collin is my roommate. He's going to be here later. He's my best friend, opener on the road, kind of like my work husband. We have a lot of ups and downs on the show. And if you're a bestie, you already know all this stuff, so I'm sorry to be talking to you about this. But I hope you can recommend the show to someone. And here's the other thing I want to do. So it's twofold. Recommend it to someone that you think might like it. And when you recommend a book to someone, unless they actually need it in their life, they're not going to read it. But at least they know that it's there when they do need it. Like, for instance, I bought that Alan Carr book, The Easy Way to Stop Drinking. I knew that his method worked with me for smoking, but I wasn't ready to quit drinking yet, but I knew that someday I would be. And so I knew it was on my shelf. So this is like giving them a book on their shelf that might help them at a time in their life where they might be a little bit lonely or might, have a long commute where they need to fill the time, or a road trip or something. So they'll go, oh yeah, Melanie sent me that podcast and I trust her about the stuff. I just didn't have time in my life to listen to it then. Something like that happened to me recently with, what was it? God, my train of thought is all over the place. Choo choo, get on board. I'll lose it often, and it's not because I'm smoking pot. I'll tell you that. But okay, I'll remember it down the road. But it's just nice to have something. Oh yeah, I remember I did a podcast. If you want to go back and listen to Nikki Glaser at her worst, when I was bulimic and not in just drinking and not, I think I might have just sobered up, but it's called the Mental Illness Happy Hour. And I once did a podcast with him, Paul Gilmartin. He used to host Dinner and a Movie on TBS. If you're someone who's, can have memories from the 90s, he was on TBS doing that. And he has a mental illness podcast where, celebrities go on and talk about their mental illnesses. And I went on when I was in the thick of it one time. And I'd said too much, and it's the only time I've ever asked someone to go, you can't air that. I'm so sorry. You can't. And he understood, and he was like, we'll do it another time. So the next time I did it, I couldn't ask him not to air it again. This guy has a way of getting things out of you. I think he's very immersed in recovery, and I just didn't have the language for that and the boundaries for that at the time. So I just poured everything out on this podcast. And I was really in a bad place at the time. And someone wrote to me and said, I heard you on that podcast. I forget, this woman emailed me through my website at the time. This was 2000, I want to say 10. It was a bad time in my life. And I didn't know it at the time, I think I just had a podcast with him, and it all came out. But I was like, what just happened, when you don't even know how bad you're struggling? And this girl wrote to me and said, I have a therapist who really helped me with some of the same issues you're going through. And I just wasn't ready for it at the time. But a year and a half later, I remember telling my friend Greg Warren at the Comedy Cellar, I met him for dinner, and I was just in a bad way. And I was like, I confided in him that I was throwing up every night and I couldn't stop. And he was like, will you please get help? Will you do it for me? I know you won't do it for you, but you're someone who does things for your friends. Will you do it for me? I want you to do this for my birthday. Go get help. And I was like, yeah. And you know what? This isn't something, this makes it easy. I know exactly who to go to because someone heard my struggles and said that they recovered with this woman's help. Albeit that was the woman that I ended up in a abusive relationship with for several years, who took a lot of my money. But I have no regrets about her because she actually gave me a lot of tools that were not worth the amount I could have bought a house with. But I still it was there for me, and I don't think I would have gotten help at the time if it would have been going to ZocDoc and reading reviews and calling people. It was just there. So that's what I mean by that. Second thing I'm asking someone to do, let's create a subreddit. So I'm going into the thing I fear the most, Reddit, where people have opinions about me. Let's do a bestie subreddit, Nikki Glaser Pod subreddit, and I want someone to take, if you're someone who's very versed in Reddit and maybe it moderates other subreddits, because there's always a moderator who polices activity and keeps it really positive. And listen, I'm not going to monitor this and read the things. You can say critical things about me. You're allowed to. But if it starts getting hateful, let's have a moderator that keeps it positive. But I just feel like that'll be a nice way for besties to connect. And I also feel like Reddit, it will get some of our besties that might be scared of Reddit and the platform and be intimidated by it to enjoy Reddit, because Reddit can be a place where you can curate the internet to be what you want it to be and not get bombarded with the negativity and the stuff that stresses you out. So I think that it can be very intimidating, Reddit, but this might get people on board, and it might be a place that that girl that had tickets to my show might find another bestie to go with. And I just think it's a good place to keep the discussion about the show and just connect with each other. And that's just an idea. So if you want to go with that, that's that. And I appreciate it. But Noah, how obsessed with you our fans are you? And if you're new to the show, I'm sorry to even gush about but you're welcome. You're one of these people. You're friends with someone who recommended the show to you that we are obsessed with. Noah, I woke up to a text from you. What did it say?
We just have such great Fanthrax. It's the least poisonous Fanthrax ever.
I know, and I think it's because of last week. Because of last week, I had a hard week of reading critical things about me, and I cried on the show, and people wrote to me so many lovely things to pick me up out of that. And I'm not going to spend too much time just talking about how much that meant to me, but I hope you all know it did. More than anything, that's as much as a best friend. I had one time I was really depressed in New York and I couldn't leave my apartment. I was crying and I didn't want to go out. I was cat sitting for Julian McCullough. I didn't even have a place yet. I was just staying in New York a couple weeks and I was so depressed. And Sabrina Jalil's comedian was also in town, and I never got to see her. She was always in Canada, and she was like, I want to see you. And I was like, I can't, Sabrina. I'm so depressed. I can't stop crying. And I don't want to see anyone. And she was like, I'm coming over. I don't care what you say. And she demanded to come over. And she brought me a pumpkin that she wrote I love you on, and a note, and made me take a walk around the block. She was like, just do that. And it was it was, I didn't think I needed it, but I needed it so much. And I needed you guys so much. And I'm so freaking grateful. God damn it. And I feel like you could be there for each other like this. I see stuff like this on Reddit all the time where people are posting stuff they're going through, and I see it happen where people go, oh my God, your comment just made me feel so less alone from strangers. So I don't know. Noah wrote to me that was like, she's compiling Fanthrax, which is our, fan letter dump later on in the show on Thursdays. And she said, I can't believe our fans, like they're so positive. And last night, Noah, I was doing an Instagram live on the Nikki Glaser Pod, which is an Instagram that we keep private. But if you want to join and are a trusted person that will keep it positive and, positively critical if you need to be, I went live on that. I feel so much safer going live on that than my own. It's just it's a new ball game with these fans. I just don't know what it is. Something's happening. And Andrew and I did our classic coffee and tea bags is the name of the cafe that we've made up that we perform at. And it's me playing guitar and Andrew on this karaoke mic we got. And he does karaoke mode. And sometimes he does master mode. And then sometimes it's professional mode. These are all inside jokes that if you're new to the show, you will catch on to very soon. So we were singing songs. We sang Tom Petty, Wildflowers, which is a beautiful song. That's what we opened with. And then we sang Phil Collins' Can't Stop Loving You, which I've been practicing a lot. There's a Taylor Swift version of it. That's why I got into that song. And then I got into the Phil Collins one, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I slept on this song for so long. Then we sang Lover by, and then Brenna. Miss you so much, Brenna. Love you so much, baby. Brenna, Andrew's girlfriend, FaceTimed him, or he FaceTimed her. And I thought she was calling him because he held up his phone while we're live. And I go, don't call her right now. That's going to be distracting. But it was so sweet. He called, or I thought she was calling. So I go, don't pick up. Like, call her later because we're on live. We just had gotten on live. It gets confusing with too many screens. Love you, Brenna, if you're listening. And then he picked up and was so glad because Brenna knew we were on live. And she said to him, she goes, I just got off the phone with my sister and she was talking to, my aunt and stuff. And I was just telling them how excited I am about our relationship. It was like so vulnerable in front of our besties because Brenna trusts you too because Andrew's talked about her so much. It was so sweet. And so then we sang Lover by Taylor Swift to celebrate Andrew and Brenna's love. And she sang with us. And then we let her go because there was a delay and it was a little bit hard. And then I just sang a couple more Taylor Swift songs. Then Andrew had to go call her back. And so I'm always reluctant to be alone on those things because if you don't know, I'm kind of pursuing a singing songwriting hobby / career. And I haven't really started songwriting. I wrote one song once and I didn't even really finish it. But I'm just scared to do it. I'm scared that people are just going to listen to me because, they're being nice or because it's like Michael Jordan playing baseball. Like no one really wants it, but will entertain it. And I don't need to compare myself to Michael Jordan. It's really like Michael Jordan playing Taylor Swift songs on a guitar. That is what it's like. Because, I'm like a 12-year-old when I play her on guitar. But I need an audience. I need to perform to practice. And it's just so easy to go on Instagram Live and cultivate a little audience that's so supportive. And so Andrew goes to bed, and usually I just, if he has to go, I have to go, because I always need him there next to me to justify, if I'm not good, at least Andrew's doing something funny, rapping along to it, or doing beatboxing off rhythm. And so there's some entertaining value despite me being bad. Andrew's next to me being bad too. But last night he had to go to bed, and I still had more songs in my heart. And then some besties in the chat were encore, more. And I was like, okay, I'll do one more. And I sang August, which is the song on her album that my number one played song of last year. I think I listened to it for 366 days in 2000, which isn't even possible. But in 2020, and it came out in July. But I played that song, and then I was like, guys, thank you so much. And everyone was so nice. And then Noah, someone really they go, Illicit Affairs, and it's the song that I've been practicing so much, and I really wanted to play it, but I was like, oh, it's too self-indulgent, because I really go there. I'm like, I don't know if you guys all have this, but and one of the besties pointed out, they were like, you look your happiest self. I've never seen you glow so much as when you're playing music. And it's I really do feel that way. I feel that way on stage when I'm performing and I'm really in the zone. but music really brings it out in me, and I just appreciated someone saw that, and it felt like, again, like a close friend. But you guys were also supportive of me, and you let me sing Illicit Affairs, and then they let me, before the songs, I was trying, this is the best part. I am so happy that so many besties wrote in the chat that they are converted Swifties from me playing Taylor Swift songs. That like now they appreciate her in a way they didn't before or didn't give her a chance to. And that's like the best gift you can give me, is that that I sound at least decent enough that you can accept her into your heart to maybe check it out on your own. But I gave a little tutorial about these songs and like what they mean, because I love storytellers, like that show on VH1 where I want to know this. I know you're not a lyric head, Noah. Noah doesn't pay attention to lyrics really, and I think some people do that and some people don't. But let's be honest, a lot of the lyrics Noah listens to is like, chain me up and run in hell.
No, no.
I'm just kidding. No. I'm kidding. But some people just...
I'm also a converted Swiftie. I just want to tell you, I was like vehemently against listening to someone like Taylor Swift because I was a metalhead, but I love her music. I think
really
she's so talented. Yes, absolutely.
Oh my god, that makes me so freaking happy, because she's someone that I indulge in, that I feel like people don't respect my musical taste sometimes. And if you don't respect my musical taste because I like Taylor Swift, I don't respect your musical taste, and I think you're like, keh. Like people who don't like Taylor Swift based on like Shake It Off or Never Getting Back Together. Swifties know that when someone says that's their favorite song or that's all they know of her, we just roll our eyes and go, come on. And by the way, those two songs are amazing too. But I gave a little tutorial about the meaning and the behind folklore, like the songs I was singing and like where she wrote them from. And I think I want to do a podcast about Taylor Swift. Like I want to do like a special episode, maybe not of this show, but of like teaching people about kind of the history, like the music behind it. Do you like hearing like the story behind songs, Noah? Do you ever do on Spotify, it says genius lyrics, or like it'll give you a little...
Never.
It's really cool on Spotify on some songs. If you play the song and look, you know how they have they'll have like a little GIF that's repeating sometimes. Some really famous songs. The first time I noticed it was with the song Runaway Train by... Runaway train never coming back.
Soul Asylum.
Yeah. Soul Asylum, right? Mm-hmm.
Runaway Train.
All I heard you say was Asylum, which does sound like a band you would listen to. Just Asylum. Asylum. That's written in that like metal font. Yeah. But Soul Asylum, yeah. That you can play that and it like walks you through how the song got written, kind of the history of how that song came out and the drama behind it. I love hearing that stuff. I want to know what the meaning is behind songs so badly. What's your favorite song, Noah? And I know that's what's one of your favorite songs? I should ask that.
Oh man, Nikki,
first one that
you
comes
really
to
put
mind.
Me on the spot.
First one that comes to mind.
Okay,
right now, like what are you listening to right now? That like if
I've been listening to a lot of Willie Nelson, and I guess the song that comes to mind is "Hands on the Wheel." I really like that song.
What is it about that song that you like? I'm not familiar with it.
It's
You just like a good safety instruction in a song.
about
10 and
driving
2.
well. Yes.
Yeah, you love 2 Chainz's 10 and 2 and check your rearview mirror. It's a good driving song, you said?
No, it's not. It's kind of like a slow song, and it's just like about the world, I guess. Just in Willie Nelson's lyrical interpretations.
I'll give it a listen. I actually can't wait to do that. There's a really good song that I love that reminded me when you said it's about the world, because it's called Oh What a World. It was written by Casey Musgraves, and it was written by her when she was on mushrooms. Oh. And it's the perfect... I made my friend Robbie... I'm going to say that to protect his identity. We were on mushrooms, and I made him listen to a song that was written on mushrooms while we watched a sunset. And it's just... She goes, oh, what a world. I don't want to leave. Some kind of magic. It's hard to believe that it's just saying, oh, what a world. I don't want to leave. It's like, I don't want to leave this place, but like just embracing the magic. It's just cool to listen to a song that you know was written on psychedelics, like Sgt. Pepper, the entire album. I'll never forget LSD. I want to try because Paul McCartney said his life was cut into 2, before and after he did LSD. Like that's how he defines his life. That means a lot. Like he doesn't cut up his life until like before and after 1964 when the Beatles became the Beatles, Or, a lot of people say after my mom died. My life is before my mom died and after. And right now, this podcast is before Andrew came in and after. Andrew!
The stories that are affecting the Black community are being covered on the Black Information Network. Not a show or a podcast, BIN is a 24/7 news network covering stories from a Black perspective. Listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app and get news for and by the Black community. Anywhere, anytime. Keeping you informed, keeping you engaged. The Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Okay, audience, do you love trivia? Do you love the hit podcast Stuff You Should Know? Then you'll love the new Trivial Pursuit game, Stuff You Should Know Edition. With 600 questions from the hugely popular Stuff You Should Know podcast, this game is packed with weird and unbelievable trivia inspired by topics on the show. You'll be challenged by brain-busting questions in 6 fascinating categories, including myths, legends, and conspiracies. And SYSK selects a mix of topics handpicked by podcast hosts Josh and Chuck. It's perfect for 3 to 6 players and adults from ages 16 to 116. If you love the Stuff You Should Know podcast, or you're just curious about the world, grab your copy of the Trivial Pursuit game Stuff You Should Know Edition today, wherever you get your favorite board games.
Don't miss out on the top stories from the best insiders around the NFL. I'm your host, Rhett Lewis, and on the NFL Inside Report podcast, I'll go around the league so you can hear much more of the story. The NFL Inside Report podcast will offer thorough, in-depth analysis and storytelling with a multitude of exclusive NFL insiders getting unmatched access. NFL Inside Report will provide you with comprehensive coverage, including game recaps, the biggest news, and in-depth reports that take you beyond the headlines multiple times per week, all on the NFL Inside Report podcast. Our exclusive NFL insiders will get the opportunity to share the full, extensive story so you can stop wondering what's really going on. You'll know what's happening behind the scenes in the NFL. The NFL Inside Report podcast debuts September 8th. Listen to NFL Inside Report on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everybody, I'm Aditi Kinkhabwala.
And I'm Mike Yam, and we are the hosts of NFL Explained. It's the podcast where football fanatics come to learn everything they always wanted to know about football.
But didn't know who to ask.
Well, they can ask us now. And of course, we're going through all of these topics, Aditi. And I know you and I are so excited to start disseminating nothing but football nugs.
Well, and Mike, I've got questions of my own. Like, do you know why the Packers are named the Packers?
I do know that it has nothing to do with Pac-Man, and it has everything to do with cheese packing.
Not cheese, with meat packing. It was a meat packing company that put $500 up for the uniforms.
Or how about this? How about like what constitutes an actual catch in football, which I would imagine all my years of covering college football is a different answer now covering the NFL.
And unfortunately, Mike, I don't think that we will possibly have enough time to figure that one out.
But the point is, you're going to be able to join us every Thursday to talk about every interesting detail about the game we love. It's NFL Explained.
Listen on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
That was a weak burp.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi. Can you burp on command?
No.
Come on.
I really can't.
Try.
I can't. That's just a sound. That was a sound. That was like me doing a Tim Allen impression.
The oldest brother's not doing well, apparently.
What?
I
thought your brother. I thought that's why you were like late coming in. I thought you were like the oldest brother.
I wish he was dead.
You wish he wasn't doing well. He's been doing well your whole life.
It's sad.
Dude,
it's sad.
Noah, we were talking about... Good job. I just want to get right to it.
Okay.
Because we did my origin story yesterday on the show. First of all, Andrew, I asked our listeners at the top of the show to send this show to friends in their life who might need the show. So we might have some new listeners on this one.
Okay.
So I just want to be aware of that. Andrew Collin is my best friend. Started out as my dog walker. Long story. We've covered that before, but you can hear the history of that somewhere when you go back in the archives. Was a comedian forever. Dog walker. Knew he was a comedian. He made me laugh the first day. Started opening for me on the road immediately. Then continued to be my dog walker. Then we stopped doing that, and then he's been my best friend, opener on the road we met in 2018 January. And now I moved to St. Louis, was living with my parents, wanted to get an apartment by myself, was too scared to live alone, wanted a friend, have no friends that aren't living with boyfriends or like have their own roommates or would want to live in St. Louis. So I asked Andrew, who is probably my number one choice anyway, told him, let's come to St. Louis, be my podcast co-host. And here he is living with me in St. Louis, Missouri. And we are in our podcast studio in our apartment. And it's the best life because we woke up this morning. And today was a great morning. We woke up. I texted him, you want to get Starb? He's like, yes. We go out. Andrew now has downloaded the mobile order app.
Oh, it's a good one.
If you're getting Starbucks on the reg and you're waiting in line, what are you doing with your life?
It's so funny how many things I've done that...
It's like the TSA pre of Starbucks.
Yeah. I'll get there too one day. But yes, go ahead.
We go to Starbucks. We have a great talk on the way there. Just getting along we pretty much always get along. Have a great little talk there. Then we sit down and then we go. The good stuff didn't happen until we got back here. And what even got us on the subject?
I have no idea. Sometimes we wake up in the morning in a really giggly mood.
Yes.
And we're very, we don't have any stress. It's the one time, especially for you, sometimes I feel like you don't think about what's on your plate or what you have to do, and you're just a fun little
Guess
fun
what I have to
person.
do today?
Nothing, hopefully?
Nothing.
That's great.
That's why I'm in a good mood.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do except this podcast, which doesn't feel like work ever. I've never dreaded this podcast. It's the only thing I can ever say about anything in my life like that. So I was making my oatmeal, and we started getting on the subject of Andrew getting arrested. We talk about, you have a background check because we have an announcement coming up. But
big announcement, folks.
Andrew and I are about to embark on this journey that involves him getting a background check, me getting and signing contracts and stuff. And you were talking to a lawyer about a background check, and I said, have you been arrested more than just, having a warrant out for your arrest when you were speeding in a manatee zone, which he covered the other day? And you said, yes.
Yes, I have. I got arrested in college. We were at a bar called...
that was me, you guys. Just kidding, it wasn't.
We were at a bar called Miss Mays, which is a New Orleans staple, which is probably underwater right now. Mm-hmm. R.I.P. No, actually, so this bar, a little history on this bar, has never closed.
Wow.
Ever. It only closed for an hour and a half during Katrina. Like that's like the story behind.
Yeah.
But really, it's open 24 hours.
You probably
a day.
still could have popped in, but you had to float in.
So yeah, you get a floaty, baby.
Yeah.
Put a little floater on there, a little 151 and Bacardi.
So this place has never closed. It's been open since 1786.
It's literally across the street from a police station. My buddy.
They built that across the street because they were like, let's just...
I mean, it's pretty... Yeah,
my friend used to have a joke that they should have a breathalyzer on the Taco Bell drive-through speaker.
Oh, my God.
At 3 a.m. And it would just they could just collect... it's like a speed trap.
Yeah, sometimes you think cops could easily get more drunk drivers if they wanted. But anyways.
Yeah.
So we're in the bar, and this girl... I felt like was looking at me, checking me out. I was hammered.
Yeah.
And I was like... And then I was looking at her, and she's like, well, what are you looking at? That's what she said to me. She goes, what are you looking at? I go, I don't know, nothing that special, I guess. Something like that. Something along Cause
sounds
she
like
was,
a podcast the other day. You're not special, but you're lovable.
Well, she wasn't either. And and so she goes to me, she goes, she gets her friend, and she taps her friend. She goes, this guy's a fucking asshole.
Oh, God.
And then next thing you know, her friend gets in my face, and then I get my buddy Seth, and I was like, yo, this girl's being kind of a bitch. He's like, yeah, you're a bitch to her. And then she throws her drink in my buddy's face. My buddy reacts and throws his drink in her face. Mm-hmm. Then the two guys end up getting... This is a
classic
New Orleans night.
Classic beginning of a fight. So let's get to it. You get in a fight.
Yeah, so they get in a fight. I just break it up. The owner of Miss Mays, who obviously is very good friends with the cops across the street.
Yeah.
He gets in the middle.
He puts on the close sign. He goes, this is the hour we're going to close.
Yeah, we're going to close down.
You guys, the closing time. Let's wrap this up.
Honestly,
you go, guys, you never close.
You never close, man, except for Katrina for 22 minutes, bro. If you live in New Orleans, I'm sure you're enjoying this story. So then...
Beignet.
Danny. So, beignet? Beignet?
Beignet.
Yeah, Kanye. So,
I guess I say yay.
I never had a beignet. Anyway, so
You look like a beignet.
Maybe I am what I eat. You would think.
You are what you don't eat.
If you put some sugar powder on me.
I'm just kidding. Brenna, we miss you so much.
I miss you, baby. So they get in a fight. I break it up. I push the owner, which is just a mistake. But I really wasn't fighting. I was just trying to break it up.
Yeah.
But it all started because this girl goes, "What are you looking at?" You know. So
it started with you just drunkenly gazing at her.
Yeah, I probably gazed a little bit. I've been gazed.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, anyhow, that didn't work. So we're walking down the street, me and Seth, and we're like, okay, we got away. We didn't get in the fight. Everything's fine. Next thing you know, 4 cop cars roll up on us. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I've never been arrested. They're like, put your hands behind your back. I was like, we didn't even fight. We didn't even throw a punch. The owner definitely called the cops from across the street and was like, take care of these fucking kids.
He just
put his
whistled
hand on
loud and goes, guys, over here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
he had a soup can with a string that led to their window. Like a teen in an 80s movie with his neighbor. Yeah, they were across the street.
So we end up going to jail. I do remember being so drunk. I was in the back. I took the handcuffs. You know me. I'm not that flexible. I managed to put the handcuffs in front of me, which cops don't like that when they open the door and they're like, oh, what are you doing? You got the handcuffs in front. And then I remember.
You're like, ta-da!
They're like, ta-da, you're going to spend another 4 years in jail.
Yeah.
And so, but I was drunk and I was like, ooh, I'm in jail. My handcuffs are in front.
You made a good point that when white people go to jail.
College kids,
White college kids, it's like this is a story.
Yeah.
This is a temporary thing. And I don't mean to say like every black person that goes to jail doesn't feel that way too, but I think it's a different vibe for white people that go, like, I celebrate my arrest. Like, there was a part of me that thought this might be forever because when you are handcuffed and you're sober, you realize, like, this is out of my control and it's the worst feeling. But there is, like, always the way white people talk about being arrested is always like, you said it was like bungee jumping.
Yeah.
That was a great analogy.
You know you're not going to get hurt. And you know you're gonna have a good time and a good story.
And you could get hurt though, and it's like kind of risky and like kind of makes you a badass, but in the end it's not gonna affect your life as much as maybe someone else. And black people, I don't know if they bungee jump.
I know is I was in there and so I go downtown. They take me to jail. They put me in a holding cell with like 20 other guys at first. One of the guys actually owned a pizza place that we would see all the time. And we're like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, yeah, they got me for a DUI. I was like, it's cool, you know, whatever. Like pretending like we're like these cool, badass guys, you know? So we're in jail. We're in this holding tank. There's one shitter in the middle of the tank.
Wait, when did the thing happen with you in the boxers?
Oh, so I'll tell you. So I thought we'd get out, you know, in a couple hours. Next thing you know, they're like, well, you're going upstairs. You got to put it. This is the time to put the orange jumpsuit on. So I'm like, and I'm starting to get more sober. So I'm like, oh no, I'm just a nice Jewish boy. Like I went from like this badass, like drunk guy. So they get me in the holding cell and it's a square of like the biggest badass New Orleans criminals. And then just me and my buddy Seth. And
how many guys are in this?
Honestly, like 30 guys.
Okay.
And they're all in a square. So you can see everyone.
That are being transferred to the orange suits.
Yes.
Okay, from the holding cell to the jail. Okay.
So you got to take off your clothes that you're wearing to put on the orange jumpsuit.
Right.
So everyone they go strip down to your boxers.
Strip down to your boxers, they say.
I was free balling, which I would do in college. My jeans really stank. They smelled like, you know.
If you're just new to the show, Andrew went through a really depressive phase in college and didn't take care of himself. And he barely does laundry now, and that's not offensive to you. But you don't do it as much as like girls do. No, but I don't think any guys really do.
I put everything together. It's a mashed potatoes and the steak. I'll go in at the same time.
It's a Thanksgiving dinner in the washer.
Put it on cold.
Yeah, and that's why I gotta empty out the gravy tray after every time you use it.
I've been emptying out that tray a lot.
I know. Thank you. So you were not like very, you didn't take care of yourself at this time. I heard that you go, you know, I think a lot of guys don't wear boxers in college, like with their jeans. And I go, I don't think that's a thing.
I don't know. I think it was like a rock and roll phase where you just like, you wear the jeans until they fucking turn into fucking trash.
The reason you wear underwear when girls don't wear underwear and it's like sexy and they're wearing jeans and they're like, I'm not wearing anything. I'm like, then your jeans are going to smell like pussy. Like you would never re-wear then your jeans are your underwear, and now you're re-wearing underwear. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's
I think the idea that denim is thicker, so for some reason it works stronger than underwear.
It definitely does for sure. Like, and you can kind of it hides stains more. But you were getting pre-cum and just drips from your post-cum cum during cum DC. You were getting it all. You were getting, piss when you didn't shake your dick off enough. You probably had little shit stains in there because
little.
There's streaks. I mean, dirty jeans that you probably never. I would say you never washed these.
No, they weren't. No, they molded around me. Yeah.
So, and then he kind of put it together that back in college he had a girlfriend that would
She blew me one time.
She only blew him one time, and we were talking about it. He brought it up to. He goes, Noah. Or he said,
Darren, a 69 was the only time that she ever blew me. I was on top.
Yeah, because she just couldn't get away from it. There's
it's a hate crime.
Yeah, she wanted to do a 73, but
she wanted the 86 out of there. She wanted to call 187.
She wanted to call the cops across the street. So
soup can.
So you wish a girl said soup can when she opened up your pants.
Yeah, I've gotten tuna can opener.
Thimble. What's it for? So then, Andrew said that one time we were talking about how she never went down on him, which to me, if you're in a relationship, I've heard of guys not going down on girls, and it's usually just because of the girl's insecure or the guy is just just thinks it's, I don't know, or it could be a smell thing and the guy's too embarrassed to tell the girl and the girl doesn't know about it. But then we realized it was definitely because your dick was just slopping around in those.
My grundle must have smelled like
jeans.
Grendel. You know what I mean? It was bad under there.
Yeah.
It was moldy.
He said that. I loved that you go, I remember when you pointed that out to me, Nikki. I always thought my girlfriend was kind of a stingy, didn't want to go down on me because she just but she was probably just didn't want to die.
Yeah.
Didn't want to catch
that
sepsis.
And my dick was way too big. You know?
And she had such a tiny little mouth.
Yeah, such a little mouth and no teeth.
So Andrew drops Trow in this holding cell.
And I'm the only one.
Only one.
Only one not wearing boxers out of fucking 40 guys. So there was
And Noah, you know how insecure he is about the size of his penis, even though Andrew is definitely average at best. Yeah. And which is fine. You know me, I'm a girl that hates when girls talk about, I need a big dick. Guys need to have big dicks. If you're listening to the show and you have a small dick, I would date you. We could have a great relationship and I would be so sexually satisfied. Let's stop saying that, girls. But you're someone who in the past has really compared yourself to other men's dicks and been kind of obsessed with it.
But guys know this. Every guy knows this. When you have to show your dick to cough during a physical, if you have to get naked in a shower with your
look good.
No, and because of that, your dick
shrinks.
Goes inside your body.
It becomes a clit. Yeah.
It becomes less than a clit.
I asked him, I go, no, because this is just the worst.
And it's 30 degrees in there, by the way. It was cold in there, so much pressure, spotlight on my dick, because I'm the only one.
Even if you had a giant dick, you being the only naked guy with all these really rough and tough guys, 30 of them, including your friend who is going to tell everyone about
everybody,
this. Otherwise, if you were alone, it would be your story to keep. But your friend sees you, is laughing at you.
You never want to witness.
And you have to, and I said, did you try to hide it? But the cutest thing is he goes, I tried to hide it, but also act like I wasn't trying to hide it. Which, there's so much going on in his brain. It was like Katrina in your fucking brain. It was a storm of
I wish I could close down for an hour, but I couldn't. It was bad. It was bad.
Mazes or
I was
Miss
Maze. I was half covering, but a half is just
So we have 1 minute to get to the news.
Oh, so anyway, so then they put me in the orange jumpsuit. I go into my own jail cell and I walk in, and there's the baddest looking dude I've ever seen in my life. He was probably 450 pounds, black guy, probably 6'4", and he had mashed potatoes all over his face. And
was he white? Maybe he used your jeans as a napkin. I feel like his face looked like the inside of your jeans. When you say mashed potatoes, just smears of white. You know?
Exactly like it. And then
You said he was like a sleeping bear. You were oh my God, I'm so scared.
And I was so sheltered at the time from even, I didn't have that many black friends. And then you're in New Orleans, you're in jail. So then I'm, imagining the worst thing ever.
You're projecting so many fears onto him. So as soon as he starts waking from his hibernation. What
he's
did you
like,
do?
He's
kind of rolling, coming out of sleeping.
And he looks at me and he's like half sleeping, and I walk right up to the top.
He's
bunk.
already looking at him when the guy opens his eyes. Andrew's already staring at him with his hand extended.
I go, "Hi there, I'm Andrew Collin."
Full name.
Hi, sir, I'm Andrew Collin.
And he shakes his hand.
And I shake his hand, and he's like, "What is?" He probably thinks I'm like a undercover cop.
So it turns out that this guy got arrested for public intoxication.
He was the nicest guy ever.
He was so nice. They bonded. When Andrew gets out, he leaves behind the guy. And what did you say to the guy?
So we get along. We're talking about life, whatever. I find out he's in there for public intoxication. He goes, "Hey, man, I tried to call my wife. She didn't pick up. Here's my phone number." I was like, "Man, I got you. My word is bond."
He goes, "I'm going to call your wife." He goes, "Can you do one thing for me? Call my wife when you get out of here and let her know I'm okay." And
we shook on it again.
And then I'm going to reach out to her and like if she's worried about me. And he goes, "My word is bond." And then he went to a keg party and never followed up. And to me, I am so sorry.
So every time I eat mashed potatoes, I think I'm going to get stabbed in the neck.
Your word is bond. All right. It's
gold bond. Yeah. It is powdery, and it looks like if you put it on me, I'd look like a little beignet.
That story.
And that's my origin story.
Now, there's so much more to tell because we got into it, but Andrew is a bottomless pit of great stories, and I love how honest you are and how you'll tell every little detail of these stories that you just think most people would take to their grave, and you should have taken it to your grave because you should have died back then so many times because of how you lived.
I should have got sepsis from my genes.
Oh my God.
I just found out what sepsis
I know,
was.
I did too. Did we find that out yesterday?
No, I asked you what it was.
Yeah, you asked me and I said it's a blood poisoning, which I believe is like if you have an infection, it goes into your blood.
Yeah, but you didn't look that up.
I know, I'm guessing.
Oh.
But I think that's what it is.
So neither one of us know.
Let's get to the news.
You heard it here first. Yeah, you heard it here first.
Yeah, first, everybody. Oh, I hope you have a great time. I hope you have a great weekend out there. Have all the swells. And make sure you guys, if you're living in Texas, wear a condom because, government.
Shout out to people in Texas who are so ashamed of living in that state and feel like, people are like, "Are you going to cancel your Austin date?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know." Like, yeah, you don't want to give, the government's going to make money off of my show. Do you want to support a government,
You don't want to keep entertainment away from the people that actually don't.
But you also want to incentivize people to take a stand against I don't know. It's tough. And the answer is no, I'm not canceling it.
Yeah, I got to pay my Corolla bill.
I donated to Planned Parenthood yesterday. If you have the money to give, there's so many charities out there, and it felt really good. Like,
fuck yeah.
It takes 2 seconds. That's the thing where when you donate, it doesn't, sometimes it's so fast because you just like, all your information fills in on your phone and it's like, boom, money just gone. It doesn't feel as good as like, putting a money in a tip jar, taking it out, like
it's like a Venmo transfer.
It's almost so quick that because sometimes you buy things and it's so fast you don't realize you're spending the money, and that's good for capitalism. But like for philanthropy, you kind of want some tangible thing of like I gave. And I will say that despite the transaction being so fast, and I did it within seconds, I let it sink in that like I did something selfless. I used money that I could have used on a Sephora thing. On that, no, it's awesome, and I'm not going to spend that money on something else. Like, it's not. I do have expendable money to be able to do that, and I'm grateful for that.
Is there an app for that, or is it just?
I just went to PlannedParenthood.org, and
okay.
I think they've been sending me texts because I donate to them monthly, but they sent me texts of like, "Fuck, shit just went down." That's the only way I found out about it. I don't get bad news otherwise. Unless I get Nancy Pelosi writing me, "Hey, it's Nancy." I'm always like, "Is this my aunt or Pelosi?" Both are asking me for money. All right, what's the news?
Dating apps are adding. Yes, speaking of abortion, no, but dating apps are adding new features to make the apps more than just mindless swiping. They're adding like all these different features of like video and shit to keep you on the app. So they're trying to like almost become their own Facebook and keep you on there longer so that they get more advertisers.
That's what every social media company is doing is it's not your money that is your time. It's your attention, like that they want. It's your attention. They're going after your screen time, the hours you see on your phone. And I always forget that. I think, as long as I'm not spending money, I'm not getting tricked. But it's not about that. It's about your time.
Yes.
And now, so what are they doing? Because I want to get into a new app.
Well, if you think about it too, like especially if you don't pay for the app, like Bumble or whatever, you get like 30 swipes, which you're swiping in a matter of 20 seconds.
Bumble, you only get 30?
Or whatever.
Oh, right.
Like
sometimes they limit it.
There's a limited number, so
And
if
then
you're
you're only
swiping
doing
quick and you're only looking
2
at the
minutes.
first photo, you're on there for 2 minutes. So they're trying
and
to...
on Bumble, especially in like a more rural that reminds me of that 30 Rock play that Jenna is in. It's called The Rural Juror. And she's like, I'm doing a play. Liz, are you coming to my movie? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, The Rural Juror. And they're like, The Rural Juror. So in rural areas, that word sucks. Bumble, the guys, the quality drops off after 5. So it's like I'm on there for 2 seconds. Yeah,
that's true too. Also, the last 95% haven't matched with you, so you're like,
oh yeah, for girls it's different.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Okay, Bumble has a new feature that lets users set up a virtual trivia date if they match with someone.
That's kind of fun.
They can also send voice memos to each other.
Wait, let me pull up my Bumble right now and see if that's all happened. I used to pay for Bumble Premium.
Tinder has Swipe Night, a live interactive dating feature where singles follow a storyline together. At the end, they'll be able to talk about the story, analyze different clues, and help solve the mystery together.
Listen, this doesn't sound like it's going to take off, but at least they're trying.
They should also have an app where you meet up to fuck.
Oh, this is interesting. Swipe right to see 3. I'm on Bumble right now. It says swipe right to see 3 short films inspired by real Bumble success stories. That's kind of, I would watch that actually. I like hearing about success stories of people who have met on these apps because that's how people are meeting now.
I feel like that's like, it's weird to meet in person.
If you're someone, I know, if you're someone out there who just is single and you are looking for a relationship or a hookup or whatever, and you're like, I'm not going to do the apps. Stop it. I'm going back to that same thing I said the other day about people who say, I can't meditate. My thoughts are, I'm a person that really,
I don't watch TV.
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
I can't meditate. It's like everyone thinks that. That's why you meditate. Everyone, you're not special. Even if you have the worst ADD, you can still meditate. You can still at least attempt to it.
You're not special, you're lovable.
So if yes, exactly. You're not unique. Stop opting out of things because you're scared and embarrassed and feel like if someone sees you on Bumble, they're on Bumble too. So I had this talk with one of my friends of like, because she was like, I can't do it. It's not for me. And I go, all you complain about not being able to find a guy. Stop. Then sign up to be alone because this is how it's happening, bitch. Especially with COVID, we're not going out anymore and socializing as much.
But also though, if you are on these dating sites, don't just stay on the dating site. Meet up in person.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, thing. Yeah.
A Bumble though is hard for me because it requires the woman to make the first move, and a lot of times, I talk about this book Getting To I Do about male and female energy and how you need to like lean into one or the other, and it's very a masculine energy thing for a woman to make the first move. There's a way to do it on Bumble, I think, that allows the man to still be in that position of a masculine energy. You can ask him something, what do you think about something? That's a masculine question to ask. Or you can say, let me know if you have, or like, you can, I don't know, Noah, what would you think would be a good line?
Open the discussion while also not taking like a masculine role. Like, you can, by asking a question, you're initiating, but that doesn't mean you're like taking control.
Well, Dr. Pat Allen, who wrote Getting To I Do, said never be the first to initiate.
But she wasn't around during Bumble.
I know, so I wonder what she would say. Noah, what do you think is a good opening line?
I would say that Bumble is kind of like the invitation. So it's like when you're reaching out to the guy first, you're inviting him in, and then he can take over, and then you can have like that role dynamic.
You could just say hi.
Just say hi, or like a winky face or something like that.
Or like eyes, like because you're supposed to do a 5-second stare, right, to get a guy to talk to you.
Exactly.
Women aren't. If you want to be a guy to come up to you and be a feminine energy woman, you're supposed to give him a 5-second stare and stare at him for 5 seconds because that's without question he'll know that you're into him. So a hi or like just a little. Even a ... or something, like to let him know that he has permission now to talk to you because that's the only way.
I think you're right. Hey, picking you up on Thursday at 9 p.m. Wear something sexy, you little bitch. Something like that. I think you should write.
A little, I wrote, can I say what I wrote to a guy?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I said, hi, you're one of the best looking men in St. Louis. Congrats.
That's great.
What do you think of that, Noah?
Very complimentary.
It wasn't asking anything. It wasn't me like going, come here. It was just like, this is a thing. This is just a truth. here you go.
Here's a trophy.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a trophy.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, Bumble stacks the attractive people first. So you go, oh my God, this is like awesome. And then it drops off severely. And it's just...
The problem is all those people are matching. Like, everyone's getting those same 5 people. So to get them to actually date you is very difficult.
Well...
Not you. I'm just saying, someone not as hot.
No, it's not about hotness. I think it's about... Well, apps are mainly about your hotness, and that's unfortunate because it's... I wish there was a way to like put your energy or like your pheromones in it.
Whatchamacallit on Ted Lasso, banter.
Oh, banter,
all based off of how witty you are.
Oh, banter. I can do a very good impression of, at least I'm trying, of what's
the
her
little
name?
girl.
Yeah, Keely. If she's like, Rebecca, she kind of like talks like the little mouse. I think she's so hot, and I really want to like role play as her because there's someone I've talked to who's I can tell is kind of into her because when we've watched or talked about Ted Lasso, I can just feel his energy being like kind of horny for her, and so I think I want to do it like I want to dress as her for like Halloween or something because it's a good Halloween costume. And sometimes I just like talk like this.
Have you ever worn a brunette wig in bed?
No, but I just got low lights, so I'm getting there.
Yeah. Low lights sounds so fucked up because it's like highlights is blonde hair and low lights is brown hair.
I mean, it's just a color spectrum, man.
Yeah.
All right, next story.
A quick-thinking UK teen rushes to save people trapped in a burning building and said she knew what to do because of her favorite Disney TV show, 911.
There's a Disney TV show called 911?
Yeah, I guess. It's just people...
Is this just cops?
It's not really a Disney. It's just on Disney Plus, Andrew. I'm not sure the network that does it.
Oh, 911 is a it's a drama show. It's like about cops,
about like emergency services.
Yeah, I think that Colin Donnell guy is on that show. No, that's Chicago Med, but it's one of those shows.
Right.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like Cop Kids. Like
you thought it was like Kim Possible? Or like That's So Raven?
Yeah, it's like people getting like shot and stabbed, but like in cartoon form.
The backyard of cops. That was a reference that you didn't hear the other day. Okay.
All right, so this 14-year-old was walking her dog when she noticed a burning smell like her favorite TV show about emergency services. She decided to investigate and found black smoke coming out of the apartment building. She ran to her dad.
And got a camera.
They got a camera. They filmed the whole thing.
A trailer and craft services.
And she just got her own show on Epcotville.
Okay, Disney, Epcot minus. Okay, so
low lights. So her dad. So they brought a ladder, and so a bunch of people got out on the ladder that they brought over. So like through watching a TV show, she managed to figure it out. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's pretty ballsy to do something like that. I don't know if I would do something like that.
No, you
we don't have a ladder. Back in the day,
you would not do that, and I don't know that you do it now.
Would you have done it?
No, because you know what? I'm someone who, and I'll say this is a character flaw that I'm working on. Like, I'm someone who kind of falls for the bystander effect, which is, Kitty Genovese was murdered in 1930 or 40, maybe in the 50s in New York and Brooklyn. It was a famous story. She got stabbed by this guy on her way home from work, and she was screaming for help. And I think it was like something like 50 people heard this woman shrieking for help, and they all assumed that someone else was going to call for help. And so no one did. And then the guy not only left her stabbed, crying for help, she then got into a corridor and got safe, still screaming for help. And he came back. He had time to come back and finish her off because no one did anything. And so that was like the touchstone moment for people to be like, there's a problem with people turning a blind eye because they assume someone else is going to handle it. And someone has to. And that's why when there is an emergency and you're someone who is taking initiative and maybe someone fell on the street and you're over there like, talking to them, you need to point at someone. They say to point at someone and go, you.
Wow.
Call 911. Because if you just scream call 911, everyone can guess, oh, that person's calling 911. But really, they're on their phone videoing it, So you're supposed to point and say, you do it. I'm someone who, one time I was driving from St. Louis to KU back home. It's across Missouri on Highway 70. And in front of me was this pickup truck that was hauling a U-Haul. And something happened, it swerved, and it started flipping in the middle of the road, and the U-Haul truck behind it was doing it was flipping together. It was like slow motion. And I'm just too scared to see a dead body or like a crumple. Like I just was too scared, and there were cars behind me, and I was the first car like right behind it.
Yeah.
I just went around it.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And that open road, I'll tell you, that was a nice little stretch open road. No. I couldn't handle it. I wasn't prepared. Like, I was at a point in my life where, like, I was too selfish.
Also, I think, like, what could I do? You know, sometimes it's like, I mean, that's an easy cop-out, but it's like, what could I have possibly done there? But yes,
that's true.
You can
like,
do a lot.
I could have called 911 even when I was driving. So now I have to make up for that in my life. And so when I do see things now, like I saw a man, like, writhing in the side of the...
Writhing,
like whoa, like kind of like rolling around on the highway. I was driving to the airport, and he was just like in the side on the grass in the highway in like kind of a ditch. And I knew because of the bystander effect, people were going to assume that there's so many cars on this highway, someone's going to call him about him. And my mom was in the car, and I go, I'm calling 911, and she was like, don't do that, someone else. And I go, no, I have to make up for that time, like. That's my amends. You have to make an amends
for
too
mashed
for that
potatoes.
For mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
You gotta do something that you wouldn't have done. Put the good out there that you didn't for that guy, and do a favor for someone like that. You need to go get arrested and say you'll call their wife, and then don't go to the kegger that I invite you to tempt you, to test you.
Dude, don't test me with a kegger. You know me.
All right, let's actually take a quick break, and then we'll be back with our weekly sports moment.
Thrilled.
I want to get back to being in my community group.
I want to continue having a soccer season.
So I can throw parties again.
So I can go to her parties.
It'd really be nice to dine in instead of getting delivery for a change.
So I can feel safe and protected for myself and my students.
We each have our own reason for why we're getting vaccinated against COVID-19. What will yours be? Visit getvaccineanswers.org for information on the COVID-19 vaccines. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
All right, we're back. Let's do our weekly segment where Andrew gets to indulge in sharing a sports story that I could maybe care less about, but let's see. Here's Andrew's weekly sports moment. That was
me so happy.
The same tone that your girlfriend had when she would take off your pants.
When she blew me one time. Here's Andrew's yearly blowjob. I honestly think you're gonna like this story because it's.
I usually do. I mean, I'm getting into sports, man.
I love that about you. Now
I just got some rollerblades.
I'm gonna get into tampons or whatever.
I said yesterday, I go, Andrew, I'm getting into sports. I got rollerblades, and he's like, okay.
Well, that's not sports.
That's not sports.
I like rollerblades, but I just thought you were like, because you were talking about boxing. I was like, oh my god, she's gonna get into football. We're gonna be able to talk about different things.
I'm getting rollerblading, baby.
And she's just rollerblading around the park, which I would do with you because I did rollerblade as a kid.
Yeah, I love it. Okay.
ESPN. Okay, listen to the story. So ESPN aired a high school football game that had a fake team. Bishop Sycamore appears to have been just an online charter school with a website that resembles worse than a Tumblr blog. Right?
This is like Trump University.
Yes, the head coach had an active arrest warrant for fraud, and the players lost to a high school team 58-0. A lot of the players on the team were like 25. And they had like fake jerseys.
So these are guys that just wanted to play football, and a guy that wanted to coach
on TV on ESPN.
How did they get that?
Because people didn't do any back. It just shows you that like
you just register as a school, and if you have a website or anything, there's one person maybe checking it. She's having a rough day. Her computer's not loading. She's like, it's a real website. It's just down right now. And then like.
They were like, yeah, we have a ton of D1 team players on our team. And so you're watching the game and you're seeing it unravel on Twitter. You see it? I watched some of the game.
Is it crazy?
But you watch like people writing on Twitter like, that's not a real school. And then you see it coming into the announcers, and then the announcers are like, we can't verify any of these people being D1 recruits.
Is this an ESPN offshoot, or was this ESPN like ESPN?
Oh, I don't know. It might have been Disney Plus, but
ESPN
Epcotville. Yeah. It was pretty much Maine. But so the team that they're playing is this team called IMG Academy, who they recruit. They're in Florida. They recruit.
You know about this team?
Yeah. Well, IMG is like a huge sports agent. Like so.
Got it.
So this team is known. It's the best team in the country.
For high school
football.
And you're a big high school football fan.
Yeah.
Like you follow it.
I follow it. So they recruit from everywhere, from all over the country.
Did
so
you
this
love
team,
this story?
Yeah, dude, because this team like they finagled a way to play the number one team in the country, and it's just these guys were sharing helmets. There was a video of a guy walking off and threw his helmet to another guy because they didn't have enough helmets.
This is going to be a movie.
Oh, 100%. Gridiron Gang or whatever. Yeah.
Or like the Bad News Bears kind of. I've never seen that movie, but just like a bunch of.
I said it was the Jesse Smollett of high school football.
Oh my god, hilarious.
So they lost 58-0 throughout. The announcers were like, I think we're kind of worried about the safety of these men that are playing these boys.
Oh my God!
And it was such an amazing story of you can bullshit your way. Because no one really, everyone thinks there's no way I get on ESPN. They're gonna check. They're a big.
It's all confidence.
It's all
acting like you belong there and convincing people that they're wrong to even question you. I mean, when I used to shoplift in college, there was always, I just knew. Well, when I got caught, I was walking out of the store and the beeper went off. But that happens sometimes when you didn't shoplift. There's something on a tag on your shirt that you're wearing. And whenever that happens, you just, because you didn't steal anything, you just go, nah, you kind of look at the cash register, the person at the cash register, and you go, I don't know, and they go,
Yeah.
But when you have stolen something, the blood drains out of your face so quickly, you look like powder, that movie, right away, and then they know. But I know that really good criminals, Catch Me If You Can, that Leonardo, he just was, these people actually have to do work to believe that they belong. So if you walk into a place confidently, I used to have a friend that one time she wanted to go to the gym with me. I was a member of LA Fitness. She was visiting. She wasn't a member. And I went in and she was like, I'm just going to walk in with you. I'll scan my card and walk in. I do this all the time. And she's a person that has so much confidence. No one questions it. And I walked in with her and I looked so guilty that they stopped and were like, ma'am, what are you doing? And she was like, you fucking just act cool. And I'm like, I can't be that confident.
Well, I do think there's a level of confidence. 2, there's a level of the employee doesn't really give a shit. So we think, they would catch us, but they really don't care.
Yeah.
There's there's a balance there of them not caring either.
Yes.
But ESPN, I don't know how many teams actually wants to play against IMG because they are that good. You're gonna look like shit. So there's teams that are number 1 in Ohio that will play IMG and lose by 40 points.
Right.
And think about if you're this, it's like a big fish in a small pond, and then you come to New York City and you're like,
definitely going to be a movie. I mean, someone has bought the rights to this story without question.
Yeah, watch those guys.
Will Smith or someone is going to do this. I can't wait for it.
Anyhow,
all right.
Fun story though, right?
So good. Let's get to Fanthrax.
Fanthrax.
All right, this is our weekly segment where we go through our fan mail, and we call it Fanthrax because people used to send anthrax through the mail, and we don't really know what we're going to get sometimes. But this is our fans writing in, leaving us voice messages, which the link to that, to leave us a voice memo, is in our bio on our Instagram page, which you have to request access to because it's private, Nikki Glaser Pod. Let's get to him. Noah.
All right, first one is Brandy.
I had to stop the podcast and leave a Fanthrax immediately. I'm going to your show by myself in Denver and absolutely love the idea of other besties hanging out, all of us together. I believe it's the second show. Maybe we could all grab drinks or dinner beforehand. I'll leave a post in the Reddit.
Awesome. Well, there we go. I just said that they should make a subreddit for Nikki Glaser Pod. So she's going to leave a post in the Nikki Glaser Reddit, which I don't go to anymore. But Brandy is going to post. That's from Brandy. Brandy's going to post there. So if you are also going to the Denver show, join her and maybe you guys can meet up and have a new friend.
And we'll post in our story on Nikki Glaser Pod of
tag us
meetup
in the
groups.
Story.
Yeah.
But I do want them to make a subreddit. Brandy, thank you so much for going to the Denver show. I do have to say that night I want to warn people in Denver ahead of time that I will be recording something that night that I'll be recording my special that night. I'm not going to say who for, but I'm recording a new hour stand-up special, and it will be that night in Denver. Both shows. No, I hope you can be there too. Andrew will certainly be there, and that those shows, usually I do an hour and 20 minutes or up to 2 hours of material. Unfortunately, on those shows, I will have to keep it at a tight hour, but I promise you it will be a very good, refined hour. And so I just want to give a heads up for that. If you're it was only an hour, but it will be a TV taping. And if you have good enough seats, and we're going to do crowd shots, wides, so you'll maybe see yourself, maybe wear something bright so you can pick yourself out.
Have a little bestie section.
have a sign that will tell you to hold down during the taping. No, but it's going to be spectacular and a really fun night. And Andrew, unfortunately, I don't know that if you'll be performing that night, but you'll be there.
And I'll take the night off.
If besties are looking forward to seeing Andrew that night, I just want to give you a heads up. He might not be performing that night because I kind of just need a guy that does, that pumps the crowd up in that way. And although you're really good at it, I've done too many specials where I just have a funny person in front of me and it needs to be more nuts and bolts of here's how a taping works, guys.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
get that.
So I'm trying to work a way for you to do a set and make an appearance. But I'm really excited to tape in Denver, and it's one of my favorite cities to perform in. And I'm doing it at the I think it's, what is it called?
Paramount.
The Paramount. Yes, I thought I had it wrong. The Paramount Theater, which is beautiful, and it's gonna So if you want to get tickets to those shows, I think there's still some available. You can be on camera, and it'll be a special night. And I hope to film some theater shots from outside, people getting excited about it. Who knows what will make the final cut? But thank you. Let's get to the next Fanthrax.
Did you want to read one from your messages?
Yes. Okay. So this one was really good today, and this one's a little bit my defense cockles went up. So it said, "Hey, Nikki." This is from Stuti. "Hey, Nikki. I listened to your podcast after a very long time. I took hiatus from you because you mispronounced and made fun of my name once on your old podcast, but I started missing your comedy and content and came back to it recently. I listened to one where you cried and received hate mails for taking ADD meds, and I wanted to say I'm so sorry you received such unsolicited opinions from people. Please continue to be you and vulnerable with us, your audience. No one should be telling you what to put in your body. Love, big fan, Stuti. And I wrote to her saying, I'm so sorry I made fun of your name and made you feel like that. I can't imagine that was my intent, but it doesn't matter what my intent was. You felt that way, and I'm so sorry I made you feel that way. And will you tell me how to pronounce your name so I can get it right? And so it's Stuti, and I'm so grateful that you gave me another chance and that you're back on board. And thank you so much for writing such a lovely message that is, makes me feel. And that was kind of the same kind of message I got from so many people after last week's shows of just so sweet. And what I just can't say enough how much I appreciate it. I didn't ever think that I could be so grateful for fans. I really I didn't know this. And
Can I play you one
my
more?
Life worth living. Yeah.
Let me play you one more. I think this is just because of her profession. It's important.
Hi, Nikki. My name is Megan. I'm calling from Chicago. I was just listening to the Speeding in a Manatee Zone episode, and the end and the beginning of you talking about these bad comments on Reddit really got to me. I actually subscribe to the Reddit. I'm actually the one who created the KISS subreddit, so I spend a lot of time on there, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm not trying to bring it up again or make you think about it more, draw attention to it, but I actually am a therapist in real life in my day-to-day job, and just want to tell you that it's okay to be sad and to hurt even though your life is good. And that's something that I've struggled with and that I work on with my own clients a lot, is recognizing your own pain, because life is hard and suffering is part of it, and there's nobody gets a free pass from that, unfortunately. No matter how much money, how much fame, how popular you are, nobody gets an easy ride. So just wanted to validate that for you. And if people were writing that stuff about me on Reddit, I want to cry thinking about it, because I think we're all still that little 8-year-old inside or 15-year-old inside, and we all still have our insecurities, and it's just it's painful no matter what.
She's so sweet. What was her name again?
Megan.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for that. And it almost just made me cry again. You are so when therapists listen to the show, I have a lot of therapist fans actually, and that means so much. It's so validating to me that they enjoy the show, because those are highly empathetic and smart people, emotionally intelligent people.
You help their business.
I've given you guys a lot of money over the years.
Yeah, you should be 10% money back.
That's so funny. I really appreciate that, Megan. Oh God, thank you. You know what that means to me, and I think a lot of people. I hope a lot of people listened to that just now and stopped doing the thing of oh, what do I have to complain about? My life is good, or you might have people telling you that in your own life, and they're wrong. You're right. Who did I read about last night that has the best life and they were sad? And I kind of started to have those thoughts. And then I remembered, like, no, everyone, no matter how good your life is, and Meghan Markle wanted to kill herself. Meghan Markle was suicidal and was pregnant, you know, I don't think she's a
She
princess,
did marry a ginger, though.
Yeah, that's one of the leading symptoms of suicide.
Can you imagine? I'm just kidding, gingers.
Yes, gingers are actually, I'm very into them.
Yeah, they're hot.
Yeah. So I just want to say that was super nice. And thank you for creating the K subreddit, which I follow on my secret account. And I'm always wanting to post stuff, but I feel like I'm going to out myself. But sometimes I log into the Nikki Glaser one to upvote stuff and comment. And let's keep populating that account with K. Someone the other day, I could on my own Nikki Glaser, because a guy was wearing a shirt that said, "I lubricate my AR-15 with liberal tears," and he was like walking like with this dumb gait, and he like passed by a car and was like, "Thank you, baby," he said to the woman driving, and then his two buddies following him were like, "Dude, your shirt, I can't get over your shirt," and he's just the leader of the pack. It is. I have to post. I'm gonna go post it on the subreddit, because it deserves a Hall of Fame in the K sub. Like, it was the K thing I've ever seen. But I said K in my story, and I posted it, and some guy goes, "What is that noise you're making at the end?" And I go, K. And he goes, "It seems like I want to get mad at it," because this guy was a guy that liked that guy's shirt, and he goes, "I like that guy's shirt." And I was like, and he goes, "But what does that sound you're making?" And I go look at K, go to the subreddit K, and it'll explain everything. So Megan, thank you for giving me a shortcut to send people. And he wrote back and he goes, "Yeah, that was K." He was like, there's a word now to describe so many things in my life. So if you're new to the show, K is a word that you can go find the definition of by going to the subreddit COUHL K.
And you could use any tears to lubricate a AR-15, not just liberal.
I wish I would have said something to him like I wanted to say something like, "It's so cool, my tears are going to use, man." Like, I wanted to say something to him. Like, I had a jerk store moment. And I didn't even come up with a good comeback. Noah, is there any more Fanthrax?
There's an endless amount, but I really want to share this mispronunciation story.
Wow.
Oh, wow. How ironic. Don't you think?
Okay, it's from Sydney.
Hey, No Druki. This is Sydney from New Jersey. I am calling with a mispronunciation. So in college, I took a class on human trafficking, kind of a dark origin story for this mispronunciation, but basically there was only a couple men in the class, and one of them was giving a presentation on female genital mutilation, and he was kind of doing a rundown of the various kinds of FGM. So he was describing the various parts of the vagina, and he kept using this word that had us all stumped. He kept calling it the labia majora. And he kept using this word, and all the women in the class are kind of looking around like, Spanish. What is this guy talking about? What is the labia majora? That's not a thing. And eventually, like at the very end of the presentation, the professor chimed in and was like, "Just letting you know, it's pronounced labia majora." Turns out this guy thinks that it is in Spanish, hence the majora. Anyway, that's my mispronunciation. I absolutely love the pod.
Like a Jewish
I love
dance.
you all. And squirt, squirt. Yeah.
Sydney, you're the best.
She has such a calming voice.
I know.
Oh
we
my
have
God,
such
I could listen to her
calming
talk for
listeners.
an hour about human.
Female genital mutilation.
Yeah, I could listen to that girl talk
FGM.
about anything. It's certain like
I thought
tones.
that was a football school in Florida. When she said that, I go, "Oh, we're back on the sports thing." No, that's a great one. I love that guy like took. That's like when people say like, "Oh, I'll get the bean burrito with extra cheese and guacamole."
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
But that guy was just trying to be like,
how do you spell it? Because
Majora.
So anything that ends with an A, you might give it a Spanish thing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's like a female thing. It's like
and the word whore is in it, so that's probably sounded right to him when he was talking about women who have FGM, because that's all based on people thinking. I don't know what it's based on. Final thought. Yeah.
You know what I love
I like Sydney because she goes, it's starting off on like a really dark thing. But that's like what this podcast is. We go to dark places and like find the light in them. So I liked it. What did you like about it?
No, I just love when I hear these mispronunciations and I don't know exactly what was
Yeah, you would have been one of the guys.
And I was just like, which word is wrong? And I know that you are knowing that I don't. Like, I could feel.
No, but I don't. I thought you would know it. Majora.
Is there a minora?
Yeah. Menorah.
Menorah.
Yeah.
Menorah.
I have 8 of them. I got a lot going on down there.
You get a present for each one?
Someone said to me yesterday on a DM, they were like, I also have a Costanza wallet. And I was like, what is that? And I realized, I think I made that joke before, or maybe you did. I don't know who made that joke.
It's an overflowing wallet.
It's like my vagina's like a... Yeah, I forget where if you are listening, will you tell me where you heard me make that reference? Because I don't remember where. And if it's mine, I need to put it in a special because
so
that's
funny.
Really funny.
Yeah.
Because Costanza on Seinfeld packed his wallet and it was just gigantic. But do you know the difference between the minora and majora labia?
I mean, I would guess the majora's bigger.
Yeah, it's the one that's like the outer lips.
Okay.
Like the ones that kind of like, when a girl, I believe this, when a girl just has like a line.
Yeah.
It's those two sides,
okay.
And then the minora is the lips that kind of will stick out if someone has like a little bit more going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like my minora look like little tabs that you might put as a bookmark, like if you were a very organized person.
Mm-hmm.
Like they look like a little like
what letter?
Ferret's tongue, like a little puppy tongue. They look like puppy tongues, and they feel like puppy tongues. I love my puss now. I used to want to get those cut off and made into a keychain, but now I like love them, and I feel like they're so like soft. I'm always just like, oh, my little puppy tongues. And then there's the clitoral hood, which is like the kind of bubblegummy, like chewed gum looking thing that's on top of your clit.
I mean, that thing, it's a great thing because it lets you know where the clit is. Some girls don't have the hood, so you don't even know what to pick up.
Everyone
to
has
see
a
the
hood,
engine.
but it might not be like as apparent, I think.
Oh, okay.
But the girls definitely have a hood.
I like a hood.
Yeah, I have a little bar that pops up so you can hold it up like you're changing your oil.
Stand. Yeah.
You know that bar that like tucks in? You got to find it, and you.
I guess the hood is like the foreskin for a man.
Can I show you something? Actually,
I'll
be right back.
We're about to see a pussy.
No.
Oh,
I'll be right back. I wasn't gonna show this.
Okay, so Nikki is going to her room, which is about 6 feet away from here, giving a little play-by-play. She's coming back in. She's coming to sit down. She's about to show a keychain.
I did clean this with a sex toy cleaner that I got from Love Honey. It's just a spray cleaner, so it is disinfected, and I want everyone to know that. This, what do you think that is? Look, tell me what that looks like to you. And just you could. I cleaned it, Andrew.
I mean,
I didn't clean it.
It's either a wind chime.
Well, play with it a little bit. Like, what is that little thing on it at the top? It looks like barbecue tongs for a Barbie.
Yeah, I mean,
and then there's a little ring at the top that slides down it to hold the tongs in place. Like if you were to, it's like pretty much barbecue tongs.
Does this open up your asshole?
Is this for sounding?
No, but that's a really
it's
good
kind of
guess,
like
Noah. So what is it? Just describe it.
For me, it just reminds me of tweezers with 2 rubber ends on the end. So
Yes,
I feel like
that's
there's
exactly
something
what
to
it looks
pick. Like you're picking something. So maybe you're picking your hood up to see the clit or something.
That's not a bad guess. It is called a clitoral clamp, and I didn't know what it was. I just saw it when I was perusing the Love Honey website, and I have problems sometimes. If I'm like having sex or like hooking up, my clit like burrows inside and like
like my dick in jail.
Yeah, it's like the clit's covered by like skin. Like you lift up the hood and then there's a clit, but it's like there's skin on top. And sometimes my clit, like the nerves, like suck back into my body. If anyone knows about this, please let me know like what could be happening because sometimes I just cannot find it. It's there and then I can't find it. But the other night, I was like, I found this thing and I go, this has got to be something that like holds it in place. And I put this thing on and I made it so it like was between this and like so it couldn't recess because I can always find it initially. And then when I start getting turned on, it hides away.
It's like a dick clamp.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And it held it in place. Yeah. It's almost like surgical. And if you're a girl that experiences that, a clit clamp is good. Be very careful though, because I've never felt such pain. I thought I was having like getting my clit pierced in terms of like it was just a little too tight at one point, and like to take it off, to take it off felt like pain that I'm a pain slut. I like a little thing. I like things to hurt.
Sure, yeah.
I think they're called pain sluts, but this hurts so bad that the next time I'm gonna have to like do it and really be careful. But it was just a thing I found. There's so many sex toys that you don't even know what they are until you just peruse a site and you're like, oh my god, like sounding. Noah, you just said sounding, and I didn't know what that was until I saw a subcategory in a BDSM like store and it said sounding, and I go, what is that? And we'll get into that another time because I don't think we have time. But if you want to know, go look it up. It's very interesting, and I want to look into it because there's things out there that you don't even know might be your thing that open up a world of possibilities to you. Have you done sounding, Noah?
No, I haven't.
Okay, yeah. Well, your fiance did our Fanthrax theme song, so the sounding would be like muffled and like chaotic anyway. Like his sounding would be like a metal kind. What do you think sounding could be?
Sounding is probably when you're eating a vagina and you're causing sounds with your mouth that could eventually like.
But Noah thought this was
orgasm.
a sounding thing.
Oh, then I don't know.
Yeah. It's complicated, and I don't even still understand it.
Maybe like you hit it like a triangle.
I think you put
things
up your urethra. I think it's about putting metal into your urethra. What's the urethra, Andrew?
It's
All right, well, Andrew doesn't know what a urethra is, but
it's inside the pussy.
Do you have a urethra?
You piss out of it, huh?
Yes. Do you have a urethra?
I don't.
You do. All right,
I know.
guys.
I was tricking you.
Oh, there we go. The old switcheroony soup can. Gotta go. Guys, thank you for listening to the show. Have a great weekend. We might go live on Nikki Glaser Pod. Who knows? So follow us on there. And definitely don't be care. And
Jack Johnson.